My dad started this farm off in about 1963. He was feeding his family with 600 tonnes of cane, and currently now we grow about 36,000 tonnes of cane. Dad cut cane by hand for other people as well as farmed his own farm to try and get some income to come in. And so yeah, he's passed the farm on to me, and I've been here all my life. So it's been a big family business for a long time. The reason I would like to see the water quality as best as it can be is because of where I live. I live 2 kilometres from the ocean. It's just important to me that I don't change the footprint of where I live. What we put on our crops to make them grow, we want to make sure that it stays there, because it costs us an immense amount of money to put nutrient on our crops and put herbicides on our crops. It becomes very easy to do the right thing when you're used to doing it. The more times you do it, the better you get at it. And if you do this year in, year out, then you get better and better and better at what you do. And I want to be the best at what I do. So we had a major grant for a Hodge 3-row minimum till planter, adjustable. Now we can plant our soybeans on beds, and then we can also go through with a multi-ribbed cultivator after we harvest the soybean or spray the soybean out, and just renovate the bed only, control traffic, therefore not moving any soil around. Probably not one of my paddocks on my farm is the same soil type from one end to the other. So with our old planter, you would have to wait until the worst type of soil was ready to go before you could plant. That way then you would lose the moisture in some of the other areas, so you would be planting dry, wet sort of thing, you know. This double disc opener now, you can go through, it plants a uniform depth, and it plants sand as well as heavy soil the same way. All the people who I associate with around where I live are good at what they do, and we all feed off each other. If we see that they're doing it better than us, we quiz them about how they did it and why they did it, and that's the reason we move that practice onto our farms. You guys have been able to, you know, give me the confidence to be able to do something a little bit outside of the square, and no, I'm sure there are plenty other opportunities for plenty other farmers around there to be able to utilise you guys to try and get that little thing that just makes their practice a little bit better, you know.
Back in about the 1920s, the Maltese came to this area. I mean, a lot of Maltese came here just for the opportunity. My parents are born in Australia, and eventually 1974, they bought a farm in Havana. My brothers eventually took the farm over, and they bought this farm here in Havana in 2015. We're working for the Reef too. We're working for the Great Barrier Reef Lagoon, which is kind of the whole from outer reef into the inner reef. So it's very important. So up until the 80s, the farming in Mackay was all mechanical based. In the 80s, it changed to that green cane trash blanket and all chemical control of weeds. So chemicals nowadays to the growers are a fundamental part of their farming system. Our job really is to minimise that movement, to protect the local waterways and ultimately the inner reefs. The aim of this project has been, in terms of water quality, is to put numbers on farming practices. So our aim has been, you know, to look at farming practices and their effect on water quality. Trials are exactly the same. There's 6 row strips, and we have 6 strips in a trial. Is we collect water out of the middle 3 rows of a strip. These 3 rows get funneled through this flume, and once there's more than 10 mils of water going through the flume, we'll start taking samples. The sampler will take 100 mil sample, and inside here is a 9 litre jar, and the sample gets dropped inside that 9 litre jar. So throughout the rainfall event, it'll just keep taking samples and eventually fill up that jar, and when it's full, it'll stop, and we'll come along and take a sub-sample out of the samples. It's important to put numbers to farming practices rather than just assumptions. Let's get really good data and then put it through the science community, through the advisors. We as growers, we as the industry do not want to have chemicals affecting the environment. And it's all part of our social licence to operate, which is a part and parcel of all businesses these days, the importance of not damaging your environment and the social people you live around. So that's from that alone, it's important to work on this.